And hello everyone, how are we doing? Welcome once again to the Beyond Screens Alternative Controller Show. I am Alistair, I am one of your hosts for the show. Tonight we have a very special interview for you. This is one that Tatiana and I pre-recorded just a couple of weeks ago. We interviewed one of Japan's leading alternative control creators, Takahiro Miyazawa. And not only did we interview him, but we also were generously accompanied by Kaho Abe, who translated for us and also put together the subtitles, which over the past couple of weeks we have been editing together to bring together into this compiled version of the interview. But before we go on to the interview, I just want to make a little announcement about what's coming up at IndieCade very, very soon. The Playable Theatre Symposium. So this is coming up this weekend on December the 3rd and December the 4th. And if you want to sign up to it, it's at indiecade.com/playabletheatre. We'll be having some of the leading creators and thinkers from the worlds of interactive theatre talking about subjects including online theatre, ARGs, performing for VR, cooperative play in escape rooms, intimacy and sexuality, and cultural heritage. And I'll be giving a talk myself as part of the symposium on Saturday. And anyone who knows me will know that there is a subject very close to my heart, and that is clowns. And I'm going to be talking all about clowns and how they have helped me design my interactive stage shows and interactive creative live streams. So if you do want to come along and join in with that, it would be awesome to see you there. And you can go to indiecade.com/playabletheatre to sign up. And now, without further ado, let's see the interview. Do feel free to share your thoughts in the chat as we go. I will be chatting along in chat, chatting with you. So feel free to any comments or thoughts as you have during the interview. Do not be afraid to just drop them in, and we can discuss what's going on as we're watching. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the interview, and, well, what more can I say? Here is Takahiro Miyazawa. Hello and welcome to the Beyond Screens Alternative Controller Show. My name is Alistair, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tatiana.
Hello! In this show, we invite creators of Alt+Ctrl video games to tell us about their work and what they're working on.
So, for those of you who may be new to the world of Alt+Ctrl, these are video games made to be played using unusual custom-made controllers. For example, a game might be controlled with a door stopper, or maybe an electric guitar, or perhaps even a paper shredder. Or the creator might build a totally new object made by soldering together their own electronic components.
And today's guest is Takahiro Miyazawa. Takahiro is based out in Japan, and so we are lucky enough to be joined by a guest. This guest is our guest translator, and you know her. She's Kaho Abe, winner of this year's Bernie the Coven Big Fun Award, and she's been generous enough to offer to translate for us.
So thank you very much, Kaho, behind the scenes. All the subtitles you're going to see today in this episode have been generously put together by her, so thank you so much, Kaho. Now, Takahiro Miyazawa is one of Japan's foremost alternative controller creators. His games often repurpose household objects like squirty soap bottles and plastic banana guards, and he has a distinctively exuberant and whimsical tone to his work. He's been a regular exhibitor at Alt+Ctrl GDC, as well as being the organizer of the Make Control Japan exhibition in Tokyo.
And before we bring Takahiro on screen, let's take a look at some of his work. This is Runes Climber.
Hello, Takahiro. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
Takahiro.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. So perhaps to kick off, could you tell us how you began making your own controllers?
ビットサミットというイベントがあります。で、そこに、なんていうかな、他の人がやっていないことをやろうと思って、シャンプーボトルのコントローラーを作りました。
What did you do before making games, and especially such games?
ゲームを作る前は、普通のゲームを作っていましたっていうか、どうしようかな。Usually game. You're making almost web game.
Okay.
Okay. It's HTML5.
So you're an HTML5 developer. You were, or are you still? Are you still doing HTML5 games right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
What kind of games are you making? Are they similar to your Alt+Ctrl games?
全然似てないですね。Not.
Not at all.
Oh, right.
Not at all.
So can we say that you were an web game developer by day and Alt+Ctrl game dev by night?
正解。
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Could you tell us a bit about the games that you used to play as a child?
Almost 任天堂なんていうんだっけあれなんとかシステム任天堂エンターテインメントシステムだっけ NES? 違うか、NES? OK names called Japanese Famicom.
Yeah.
スーパーマリオなんやろなマリオカートFinal Fantasy.
And were these the games that inspired you to make games professionally?
Not all.
Not all.
Not all.
Or there are some video games that inspired you to make Alt+Ctrl games specifically?
Almost arcade game?
Yeah.
Arcade. なんやろな。
どういうようなアーケードゲーム？
どういうような。
例えば。
I'm asking because Japan is the country of arcade, and there are so many weird arcade games there. I'm thinking about a game called Chocha Budai Gaishi, for example. And so I was wondering if maybe that was an inspiration.
ちゃぶ台返し do you know ちゃぶ台返し
Oh my god.
Yeah, Chocha Budai Gaishi, of course. Yeah.
多分みんな知ってると思います。
Famous?
Yeah, it's a very famous game.
Yeah.
It's really famous, right?
Yeah, especially for memes. So, sorry, for the audience that is watching right now, Chocha Budai Geishi could be roughly translated to super flipping table sort of game. And so it's a game with a table, and you got to get angry on it, and at some specific point you got to flip the table. And so there are different modes for this game, but and different scenarios, but that's famous for that, and it's a famously weird game, I'd say. So a lot of your works are really joyous, exuberant, and also very family friendly. And do you have children in mind when you create your games?
もちろん、Yes、もちろん考えて、 オーディエンス、観客が楽しいゲームを作るようにしています。
What makes a game good for spectators?
まず見たときに何をしてるのかよくわからない、おかしな、なんていうかな、ストレンジおかしな光景をまず作るっていうことにしています。
I do believe that all control games are primarily games for spectators, because in exhibition spaces, most people won't play the game for obvious reasons that there is only 1 to 4 players able to play at the same time, but many people will watch these people playing. So I just relate a lot to this.
一番大事なのが観客なんですよ。で、2番目が遊んでいる人で、一番大事じゃないのがゲーム。
I really like that attitude. I really like it.
すごい気に入りましたって言っています。
OK.
Talking about spectators and the spectatorship of your games, there's a couple of games of your games that make use of some really large controllers, like the giant scissors in Scissors, or the dice in the Dice River.
もともとハサミをコントローラーにしたかったのと、サイコロをコントローラーにしたかったんだけど、小さいと持ってるプレイヤーを観客が見てもわからないので、観客がわかるように大きくしました。All for Spectre?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I find it really interesting because I really like the way that these giant objects mean the player has to think about their physical movements, like how a big dice to move it around and find the different sides is a difficult physical task. Is that something you wanted to play with as an idea?
そうですね。Yes. 大きいほど良い。
The bigger the better.
Have you seen people use them in interesting ways that you didn't expect?
アリステアのシュレッダーかな。GDC で見た。
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Oh, thank you.
でも
シャンプーボトルはいろんな持ち方をする人がいて、こう脇に構えたりとか、あと床に置いたりとか、両手で持ったりとか、いろいろ持ち方があるなって思いましたね。で、それがあってサイコロのゲームを作ったんですけど、その持ち方が決まってないコントローラーを作ってみたくなったっていう。
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and well, that transitions well to the next question. How do you come up with the ideas? Could you tell us a bit about the process of coming up with a controller?
それを困ってる。それを困っています。とにかく一番大事なのが観客なので、観客から見ておかしく見える動作をどういう動作があるか考えたり、あとは、映画とかの誰でも知ってるけど体験したことがないワンシーンをゲームにしたりとかが多いです。
So is that what inspired Rope Climber, for example?
いえ、最初の観客はルインズクライマー、観客に見せたかったのはルインズクライマーで、あと剣を抜く、なんていうかな、台座から剣を抜くゲームとか、あと鳥の羽を手につけて飛ぶのは映画とか漫画のワンシーンから作っています。
That's interesting. Could you?
Yeah.
Tatiana, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, so I cannot elaborate on this because it would become complicated, but this is exactly the method I'm using with my students. I use archetypes, story archetypes, to ask my students who are making Alt+Ctrl for the first time to get inspired, because it's easier for them to project into the experience for the spectators and the players. And so I find it fascinating that this is something that we discussed with people in the US. I'm using this in France. You are using this in Japan. And I know it's not a question, but it's an interesting comment, I believe.
今、日本の大学でも、こういうオルトコントロールの、ゲームを作らせてる大学とかいっぱい増えてきてるんです。
I'd be really interested in discussing this because I'm talking with this about this in Europe and in the US and Canada, but this would be a really fantastic topic to discuss. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit off rail.
I think this is an interesting thing. I'd like to know more about it.
So to jump in, this is like exactly the kind of thing that I used in my classes in the US as well. So
oh wow.
And I even had a game jam where it was all based on films. It was called Jean-Claude Van Jam.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I think you mentioned that.
ちょっとその続きでそうやってそういうクラスが増えてくると、だんだんその次の世代の人とかのゲームとかAlt+Ctrlのゲームとか増えてくると思うんですけど、そういうことはどう思いますか？
いや、もっと増えてほしいですね。やっぱりオルトコントロール GDC に出て、こんなにたくさんの人がやってるって初めて知ったので、ちょっとそれを日本で今増やそうと頑張っているとこですね。
We understand that you run an event called Make Control Japan. Could you describe that to us?
オルトコントロール GDC を日本でやっているだけですね。
I assume that a bit like in France, the context is different in Japan than in the US. So you cannot just import the concept of Alt+Ctrl GDC. You got to adapt to the community, the scene that is in Japan. How do you do that? Who do you work with, etc.?
特に何もしていないですね。まだできたばっかりの、チームなので、そこまで考えてなかったですね。今はとにかくたくさん知ってもらって、で、作る人を増やすことに、時間を使っています。半分は学生の研究所、チームで、あと半分は社会人ですね。
Yeah, a bit like here, basically. A bit like everywhere else, I'd say.
How do people submit their games?
一応普通に応募期間もあるけど、なんかその他の、大学の先生とかでなんか面白いものを作っている人とかを教えてもらって誘っている感じですね。
And as a curator, are there specific things that you're looking to show, or specific goals that you have?
そうですね。オルトコントロールを作っている人たちがなかなかそれで、仕事にするのはまだ難しいので、もうちょっとたくさんの人に、例えばそのイベントでやれば人がいっぱい来るとか、注目されるってことを知ってもらって、それでお金になるように仕組みを作りたい。
That's the same here. the few people that are earning a living work in the art field, basically. So
でもあるだけね、いい。日本には全くない。
It's good that there's even those kind of opportunities there. In Japan, there's like none of that.
oh, so there is not like a digital art scene where you can maybe show some alt control or playful installation at least.
今は、大きなゲームショーの中に一緒に入ってやらせてもらってますね。年に3回ぐらいできている。
じゃあアートの世界じゃなく、そういうなんかゲームの世界で、認められる方が多いっていう意味ですか？
そうですね。Yes.
You mentioned the sword earlier, and I'm curious to know more about it because it seems that the performance of it is such a big process, that the performance kind of takes place in stages. And I guess I'm curious to know about how you went about designing the sequence that the player is going to go through.
まず、剣を抜けるかどうかを挑戦するのと、それを挑戦するためのゲームは絶対分けないといけないと思っていて、で、最初の重さのゲームは、もともと全く別のゲームで考えていたと。その別のゲームは、インディ・ジョーンズの、インディ・ジョーンズじゃなくて何て言うんだっけな。あれですね。レイダースか。かな。なんか
Raiders of the Lost Ark ってインディアナ・ジョーンズの、一つの映画
ワン
です。
シーンを作ってたんだけど、そしたら、GDC で、インディ・ジョーンズのなんか椅子から椅子にくっついた状態から逃げるっていうシーンがあって、先にインディ・ジョーンズをやられてしまったので、ちょっとそれが作れなくなったと。で、しょうがないので、剣のゲームにくっつけた。
I mean, they do conceptually fit quite nicely because it's, there's different stories, but it's both mythology.
そうですね。偶然できたので、まあでもうまくいきましたね。
I also really like the challenge in the game where, so I haven't played it, but I've been watching the videos and reading up on it, and the idea of a challenge where you have to physically judge the weight of something is really nice because it uses a very human skill. Like, there are very few games that ask you to figure out how heavy something is.
他ではちょっとないかな。自信があるけど、見たことないと思いますね。
どうやって人はそういう重さを想像してるのかとか思いながら今までずっとなんか時々思い出してすごい不思議だなとか思うんですけど、なんかできる人とかできない人とかいますね。
もう女性の方ができますね、あれ。
あ、そうですか。
男性は全然できないんですよ。
私の友達男性でしたよ。
だからまあ、すごいですね。本当にすごい。面
白い。ミュージシャンだから感覚がいいのかな。わかんないけど。私はただコンピューターのキーボードを叩いてるだけなので。
いやいや。
But it's certainly, I mean, that's one of the things that I like about alternative controller games is that they can bring in these skills, like judging the weight of something is a skill that anyone could potentially be good or bad at. You don't have to have spent so much time in front of a computer or using a Nintendo controller or whatever to be able to judge the weight of something. That is a skill that we have that's almost just a part of us being human rather than our relationship to computers. So I really like it when these kind of things find their way into games. It always interests me.
剣は、たまにしか抜けないからいいので、そういう練習をしてない人がいいし、もう本当そのセンスのある人しか抜けないっていうのがいいと思っていますね。
It's almost like, it's like King Arthur, you know, you have to have the magic power.
ね。
そうなんですね。抜けた時に観客がみんな喜ぶのが一体になってすごくいいですよね。
So what's inside the stone holding the sword in place, or is that a secret?
なんていうのかな。それのロック、電子ロックっていうのかな、機械で、電気で開けたり閉めたりするドアをロックする、あれを使っていて、で、剣に穴が開いてて、そこに引っ掛けてロックしてあります。
One of the things that you do on your website is that you show a lot of how the controllers are constructed. Like there's diagrams and things. Is there a reason that you are happy to share these designs with the world?
オルトコントロールを作る人を増やすためですね。
I also think a thing that I find very interesting is seeing particularly Ruins Climber, which is the game of yours that I played at Alt+Ctrl GDC in 2019, which I absolutely loved, by the way. And on your website, you show all the different designs that the machine went through. And I find that really interesting. Is that a game that changed a lot between the first version of the controller and the version of the controller that you show off now?
6種類 ?6 バージョン。
Wow.
What was the biggest thing that changed?
変化、一番というか、最初はもっとメカニカルというか、複雑だったのが、どんどんシンプルになっていってる感じ。はい。シンプルにしないと壊れてしまうので。
Usually in Alt+Ctrl, we will else aim for something that is really robust, really that will be tough enough for people not to break it, or we make it very disposable so we can reproduce it, and we focus on making something that is easy to reproduce. What do you prefer in these two, between these two approaches?
壊れないように作ると重くなるので、どこかに運んで展示には向かないので、壊れやすい方なんですけど、それでも、どこが壊れるかをちゃんと調べておいて、そこですぐに直せるように作っている。
In Alt+Ctrl, usually we have three ways to spread the games. One is art, but as I understood, that's not really something feasible right now in Japan. The other one is tutorials, spreading how we made the game so other people can reproduce it. And the last one is trying to enter game spaces. But the problem is that game festival, usually they don't pay us to exhibit because they have a promotional mindset. Usually indie games go there or games go there to be sold. So there is a promotion going on, which doesn't happen with Alt+Ctrl. Knowing that, how do you see your works going for when it comes to having a future and earning money, maybe with alt control?
タフクエスチョン。
Sorry.
いやまだお金のことは全然プランにない。No, I have no plan
Yeah.
for make money. ただ、次の世代の子がお金になるようにしてあげたくて、そのために自分はまあ、いろいろやっているという状態。自分はお金がもらえなくても楽しければ OK。
I'm asking this question because a lot of people in alt control are making this for pleasure, for the fun of it. So we don't think a lot about making money, but I believe that if we want alt control to thrive, to keep on going, at some point, the question of money will come into play necessarily, whether it's for us or the next generation. And I'm really wondering myself, what would be the best fit? And I'm wondering if game centers, arcades, which are not as popular today as they used to be, could reborn from the alt control movement, maybe. And being in Japan is a nice seat to see if there is something that's feasible here with what I would call a rebirth of arcade centers.
可能性はあって、まあ一応そういう話はたまに来ていて、まだ実現してないけど来ている状態で、そうでなくても、例えばイベントの中でメイクコントロールジャパンを開くと、すごくそこでお客さんが来てくれるので、なんかそういう直接売らなくても、そのイベントに人を呼ぶための一つのなんていうのかな、チームとしてお金をもらうみたいなことはできるかもしれない。
I could see how alt control developers start working with maybe, I don't know, Nintendo, the Namco, or whatever, and make stuff happen. And Japan seems to be honestly the only place where this could happen because of this history with controllers.
そうですね。そういう任天堂とかナムコとか、コナミとか、結構いろんな人が必ず来てくれていて、遊びに来てくれて、まあ一応そういう来てくれてるので、もしかしたらなんかあるかもしれない。
Do you think, as an alt control dev working with such big companies, would be a good fit, even though alt control comes with a lot of creativity and freedom? And do you believe there could be friction there?
自由の部分、自由について言うと、やっぱり壊れるっていう心配、壊れないかどうかが一番制約がある、制限されることかなと。壊れやすいコントローラーは多分作らせてもらえないかなと思いますね。あと危ないかどうか。遊んでいて危ないかどうか。
But what you do with a lot of your work that I find really interesting is you're often reusing household objects. So things like the squirt bottles, these are objects that people find around the house. And I think there is an interesting direction that says what else alternative controllers can be. Is it's not just creating a consumer product, but it's creating a way by which people can make their own games out of things they already have.
家にあるものを コントローラーに改造する方が壊れないし、壊れないし、まあ見た目も面白いと思うね。
And I guess that ties it into the spectacle, that they are fun to watch. There's a kind of magic to them because something strange has been turned into something, playful and imaginative. Has there ever been an object that you've seen and gone, I really want to make a game out of that, but you haven't figured out what the game is yet?
食品サンプルって食品サンプルをゲームにしたい。わかります？食品サンプルだ。
ローで作ってある。
そうそうそうそう。
はいはい。なるほど。外国人それは好きですよ。
あ、そうなんですか。へえ。
So, in Japan at the restaurants, they have all the samples that are like made out of wax.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's easy to choose your meal and things like that. So he really wants to make a game using those kind of wax samples of dishes.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. And do you have a new creation in the pipeline? Is there something you're working on right now?
2週間、違うか、3週間前。3週間前に作ったばっかりなので、今は何もないです。
Is that glasses?
Yeah.
Could you tell us, describe the game for us?
とにかくメガネを弾いて、人にぶつけるゲーム。
So
That's very straightforward.
Yeah. So I saw we saw the video of it just before this call. So I like the idea that you physically feel like you are throwing glasses, which is a I guess it's an unconventional way to use glasses. Was that part of the intended humor, that you're using glasses in the wrong way? Is that part of the joke?
そうですね。クレイジーと呼ばれたくて。
We got the crazy part.
Yeah.
But also is using household objects and ordinary objects a way to maybe re-enchant the ordinary world through games and playfulness, maybe?
まあ、メガネはそうかもしれないですね。なんか、絶対やらないだろうっていうことを、体験させるためかな。一番驚いたのは、ぶつけるのを9000回やったけど壊れなかったことが一番びっくりした。
すごいですね。い
や、すごいですね。
金のメガネなんですけど、100均ってわかるかな
100円ストア。
100円ストアのメガネなのに、タフ。
Yeah, but that's it comes back to what you said earlier, that when you use pre-made objects, you can rely on them being tough, being robust, because they are industrially made in a factory, I assume.
ですね。
そうですね。そうですね。
When I saw that video, I was like, wow, it's like you just want everybody to be wearing a pair of glasses. Because sometimes, like, for people who wear glasses, like, there are people who never have to wear glasses. They don't understand what it's like to always have to wear glasses. And then I was like, oh, like at a 3D movie theater, when you go to a 3D movie theater, you actually have to wear the 3D glasses on top of your regular glasses, and it's really uncomfortable. And I was like, I just want people to know how it's like to wear glasses. And then he was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Maybe I'll make a game like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Something I'd really like to know is how would you go about if someone wants to get into making alternative controller games, how do you recommend they get started?
今はすごく簡単に作れるようになっ た、安く、簡単で、パソコンだけあればすぐに作れるようになったので、とりあえず何か始めてほしい。ちょっと何かやってほしいと思ってます。そうですね。でも、わからないことは全部僕に聞いてください。
Is there something that you think could exist in the world that would make it easier for people to get into it? And maybe it's just more of you. Maybe you need to build a cloning machine.
そうだね、クローンが欲しいな。クローン
Thank you so much, Takahiro, for your time, and Kaho for your time too. Where can people find out more about your work?
ホームページ、ウェブサイト、Twitter、maybe. And see you next Alt+Ctrl GTC.
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Fingers crossed. Well, thank you so much, Takahiro, for joining us.
Yeah.
This has been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks so much.
And thank you very much.
Arigato.
Arigato.
ありがとうございます。
And thank you so much as well to Kaho. Kaho, thank you so much for your fantastic translation. We couldn't have done this without you, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do keep an eye on the IndieCade channel, where the Beyond Screen shows continue, and we look forward to seeing you again soon with more incredible alternative controller creators. Thank you very much, Tatiana, for another fantastic show. And of course, thank you to all of you in the audience for coming and joining us. All right, let's say cheerio. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And there we go. That was our interview with Takahiro Miyazawa. Thank you so much for coming along, and really hope you enjoyed it. And yes, we'll post a link to Twitter on Twitter in a minute. Yes, we'll post a link to the VOD, the video demand, so you can watch it again. But yes, thank you very much for coming along. I mean, I really enjoyed doing that interview, and I think it was a real pleasure to have the opportunity to do it. I mean, something that really struck me about Takahiro is how motivated he is by, you know, the simple act of spreading joy, and also by inspiring the next generation of creators to, you know, pick up their tools and try to make games out of whatever it is they find. And, you know, I find that kind of really positive and inspiring. So it was a real lovely experience. And, Tatiana, I can see you're in the chat right now. And yeah, it was lovely to do this interview with you. And perhaps this might be the start of, you know, more opportunities for us to explore other parts of the world and other game development scenes. You know, who knows? Watch this space. Before we go, just a little announcement about what's coming up from IndieCade very, very soon, which is the Playable Theatre Symposium. So this is running this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, December 3rd and December 4th. And we're going to have leading creators and thinkers from the world of interactive theatre, talking about subjects including online theatre and ARGs, performing for VR, cooperative play in escape rooms, intimacy and sexuality and cultural heritage, and you might get a on Saturday night, well, Saturday afternoon if you're in the States, you will get an opportunity to hear a very familiar face talking about one of his favourite subjects, clowns. That familiar face is me. So yes, head over to indiecade.com/playabletheatre to sign up. Thank you so much once again for coming along. And we look forward to seeing you once again here on the IndieCade channel for more streams and more awesome interviews with alternative controller creators. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and see you all again soon. Bye-bye.